Buying a rack and a barbell is dangerous for a home gym if you have a $500 budget. I'm about to reveal exactly what most people should buy if they've got a $500 budget. I will build a home gym in this space and share the exact items and costs at the end. And I'm going to show you that I can build muscle using it in the next 7 days. Well, try to anyway. Stick around to see if I actually can. But first, why don't I recommend getting a barbell and a rack on a $500 budget? First, you will need to upgrade this cheap equipment at some point. I tried doing it on the cheap before and I just outgrew it. Second, it's not safe lifting heavy alone on these racks. And lastly, you'll probably only be able to pick up a couple of plates, which isn't ideal for progress. So rather than just tell you what I recommend, I'm going to show you exactly what I'll buy so that it suits my wife, who has hardly lifted any weight in her life, and me, who holds the squat world record. So I'd say this is an ideal setup for most people. Yes, even you, Dan. The first item on the list is pretty much all you need to get into great shape, but it's the little additions later on that make this a complete home gym. So the first and most important item can be compared to the phone I'm using to film this on. It's your chatty friend, personal paparazzi, tour guide, internet explorer, human calculator, flashlight in shining armor, and the entertainment guru who never runs out of jokes. Likewise, this bit of kit is all you need, no matter what your goal is, whether you're looking to build muscle, burn fat, or just do some exercise because the doc said your organs are about to pack in. I'm talking about adjustable dumbbells. Why adjustables? A complete set is a lot of money, and they take up a lot of space. The options are becoming seemingly endless for adjustable dumbbells, but in reality, you just have about 6 types packaged up differently. For a $500 gym, there are really only 2 realistic options, which I'll get to. I could go on about these options for a long time, but I set myself a challenge to do this within 1 minute. Feel free to pause and rewind if you need to here. Right, ready? Let's go. 1. Handle twisting types like newer bells. Pros, they're quick to change and they have a good weight capacity, and they get bigger and smaller. The cons are they're expensive and they can break due to the excess weight. 2. Screw-in types like Iron Masters. The pros are they are the most durable and they go up to a heavy weight. The cons are they're slow to change and expensive. 3. Blocks like power blocks. Pros are that they're durable and you can add more weight with expansion packs. The cons, they're weirdly shaped and bulky. 4. Digital types like Jack Jocks. Pros are the quick change feature and they're compact. Cons are they're gimmicky and fragile. 5. Loadable dumbbells by pretty much everyone. The pros are they're cheap and they take a high load. Cons, they're slow to change, you need to store the plate somewhere, and the ends stick into your leg when kicking them up for heavy shoulder presses. Check out Kensui Fitness for a better alternative here. 6. The slide pins like Bowflex. Pros, they're cheap, quick to change, and they have flat-ish ends. Cons, they have a limited weight capacity and they're bulky, even with low weight. So I'm looking for a cheap slide pin set, ideally at least 55 pounds in each hand, as this is enough to be a decent workout for most people. If you're like me and too hench, joking, by the way, you can increase the reps, slow the tempo down, or make exercises harder, such as the incline bench press instead of the flat version. You can always buy additional heavier dumbbells if needed later, but you won't need to replace these, unlike the crappy cheap pink ones. If you're in the UK, there are some decent ones like these Brain Gains for around £210, but I set up an alert on Facebook Marketplace a while back, and these £72 set for $255 just popped up. Now, I know a lot of you are from the USA and prices change a lot, but currently the Cap Barbell 55-pound dumbbells seem like a killer deal, costing around $255 for a pair of 55-pound. Nordic Track used to be around this price, but they are now $400. So if you want to see an up-to-date list of the equipment I'd recommend, you can find that in the first link in the description below. I'd also include the equipment I'd recommend if you can stretch your budget higher than $500.
But here's the bottom line.
When you're at this price range, you can't be too picky. The key thing is choosing something that has enough weight for you. If you have a really tight budget, just go for the loadable dumbbells. You honestly could just buy adjustable dumbbells and be good to go. But seeing as I've only spent $255, there are a few other things on the list I'd like to get.
Second on the list is the jelly to the peanut butter. The Dumbbells being the peanut butter, obviously.
It can add a ton of extra lifts that you can do with the dumbbells, and I already gave you a hint when suggesting harder exercises earlier. Did you notice what it was?
It's an adjustable weight bench.
Why adjustable? Well, mainly for the incline bench press, and well, that's about it. I'm joking, of course, there are other lifts that you can do with an adjustable bench too, like these.
However, what I would say is I'd rather have a sturdy flat bench than a wobbly adjustable any day.
I've already got a decent bench in my garage, but I want this one to be able to fold away so that my wife doesn't kill me when she finds out what I'm actually doing. I've heard decent things about budget options like Flybird,
But the one I went for is this Yolio. And that's mainly because it has a longer back support, so it should support your head.
if you're taller than 5'10".
To be fair, I'm 6'1".
So I think my head should still just about fit on the Flybird, which is 3 inches shorter than this. It's close though.
It also has wider legs at the back.
So in theory, it should wobble less, but they're so lightweight, they still are gonna wobble. I'm gonna test out a heavier bench press on it, just in case you're worried that it won't last if ever you do upgrade your kit. Wish me luck. That's all I'm getting today. And these types of benches have been proven to take a lot of weight on them.
And it has a tiny 8.5 inch height when folded, which will make hiding it somewhere really easy. It's also super cheap. So with $130 remaining, I'd grab a pull-up bar.
And pull-ups are great for any fitness goal.
It's also hard to hack pull-ups without a bar. And if you can do 10 strict pull-ups, you're winning, in my opinion. But if you can't, you definitely need this next item on the list. But first, I promised you I was going to use this home gym to build muscle. Quick side note, when people say they want to lose weight, normally they want to burn fat. Building muscle is a good way of doing that, as most people don't want to look like a skinnier, weaker version of themselves. It doesn't mean you need to become ridiculously jacked unless you want to. So here's my challenge. In 1 week of receiving the kit, I wanted to see if I could gain some size to my arms. I have no idea by how much, but let's say 5%. I typically have struggled to grow my arms for years. I can't say I've ever solely targeted them, to be fair. And I know from my sports science days that I store very little fat there, meaning extra growth is very likely to be more muscle. Here's the measurement on day 1. So I need to go from 13.75 inches to 14.44. Let me see how I get on. So after 7 days in a slight calorie surplus and focusing on my arm work, here is my final measurement.
All right, so let's see what the measurement comes out as. I have no idea what this is gonna be. So it's about 14.6, which I would say I'm pretty impressed with, but actually I've just done a workout, so it's just a massive pump. I'm gonna have to do it tomorrow and get a more accurate reading of what it is.
Tomorrow.
Okay, it's exactly 7 days after, and this is the morning before any workout or anything. So let's see what we've got. Looks like about 14.1 inches. I just realized since 2018, I've never had biceps bigger than 14 inches. Considering that was just from 1 week, I'm pretty happy with that. If you want to see what I did during this week, tap the subscribe button. I'll share my exact process in an upcoming video. Oh, and while you're there, just poke the like button, would you? It's a great way to get some extra muscle on your fingers or thumbs. We don't discriminate here. But the point I wanted to make is this setup does work for building muscle.
And now you have kit that you can expand on over time,
rather than needing to sell it to replace stuff with better things when you have more money.
So next up are resistance bands.
The great thing about these is they complement everything we already have, and it now means additional exercises become available. But it can also add resistance to your dumbbells, especially for your legs. When you squat with dumbbells, the easiest part of the lift is at the top. Using bands at the same time adds more resistance at this part and can make an 100-pound squat feel like much, much more.
and if you do have some pennies left over,
I'd get a carabiner clip with cable handles. Using resistance bands can feel awkward in your hands and can pinch the skin, so it adds even more versatility to these. Remember, all of these recommendations can be found in the first link in the description below. It even walks you through what I'd recommend if you have a $1,000 budget, a $3,000 budget, or if money was no object. But even with all of this equipment, it means nothing if you don't actually use it. And there are 5 things that most people can't handle when they have a home gym. Make sure you watch this video next to see what they are, and it includes 5 hacks to make sure that you can handle them.